Well, let's just look at what is happening. Nifty now trading above 8,700, and it's been holding there for the last 10 minutes or so. Very strong movement. We did expect the markets to actually go up by 1%, at least the big cap space. The mid cap and small cap space is doing even better. It's up about 2%, the BSE small cap index, the Nifty Next 50 about 1.75%, and the BSE mid cap 1.2%. So very, very strong buying today. And look at the market breadth. BSE 500, 86% advance and just 5% declines. One stock that has been doing extremely well for the past two sessions is Sintex Industries. It's up 3.5% today. It was up 7.5% on Friday, and that's because the board has approved a demerger plan. I'm being joined by the group CEO, Sameer Joshipura, right now from Ahmedabad. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Joshipura. If you could just explain the rationale behind this demerger, because what we've seen is that you've actually been operating like a demerged company. You've been giving out details we've been getting details about the financials of the two companies, two parts of the business quite regularly. So what was the reason to demerge them?
So the rationale is that we can remain focused on individual businesses. Our textiles and plastic businesses are very different. Within plastics, the custom molding and prefab business are very different in terms of markets and customers that we cater to. So if the demerged entity would give the management very clear focus in terms of growth plans, the strategies, the competencies we deploy, the markets we target, the products we develop. So it would really give us a very focused way to manage these companies. Also, from our stakeholder point of view, it would be very easy to relate to these companies because right now we are a diversified company. So if someone wants to get associated with Sintex, has to get associated with all the businesses. Now our stakeholders can really pick and choose whether it's the textile which is of interest or the plastic which is of interest. So that was the logic. If your question is why now, why not before, is that our textile business was really small till say last year. We have made heavy investments last year and we are still investing this year, so it becomes a significant business which can have its own balance sheet. So probably that's where the timing coincides with that.
So if I look at the revenue contribution of the textile business, correct me if I'm wrong, it's between 15 to 20 odd percent?
Financial year 15-16 was around 12.5-13%. However, we invested 1,700 crore. That capex is going live this year, this financial year, and we are investing another 1,500 crores in this financial year, which would go live next financial year. So with these two capexes coming in, the revenue should go up relatively faster than the other two businesses.
What was the top line on the textile business, sir? 900 crore, if I remember correctly.
940 crores. 940 crores.
And where do you expect it next year or 2 years down the line?
It's very difficult to pinpoint textile numbers because it depends a lot on the yarn prices, which fluctuates year on year. But broadly speaking, these two capexes which I just mentioned, one which went live this year and one which is going to go live next year, these two put together should add something like 2,500 to 3,000 crores to what is already existing top line.
So
probably we can
go ahead, sir.
So if we talk about FY 18-19, probably it would be 3,000 plus 900, which is current.
All right. Sir, just to get a sense in terms of if I were a shareholder in Sintex Industries right now, how many shares would I get in the new company, the one which will have the prefab and the plastic moldings?
Okay, so let me explain the demerger in very simplified terms. So eventually, after a series of approvals and processes that we need to finish, there will be two listed entities. One, Sintex Industries Limited, which is the existing company, and there would be another company called Sintex Plastic Technology Limited. Sintex Industry would carry the textile business. Textile is fabric and spinning business, and Sintex Plastic Technology would have two businesses, custom molding and pre-fab and infrastructure businesses. Both these companies, Sintex Industries is already listed, Sintex Plastic Technology Limited would be listed company. One share in Sintex Industry today, a shareholder would get one of each, Sintex Industries as well as Sintex Plastic Technology Limited. So it's a very simple allocation for one existing share. A shareholder would get one in each of these companies.
But in terms of earnings breakup, in terms of revenue breakup, it appears that most of the revenue will lie in the plastics business as of now. So why is there a 1:1 breakup in terms of shares, sir?
No, so again, currently one share, a shareholder owns the entire portfolio, right? So once we demerge this entity, a shareholder would again hold entire portfolio, one of textile and one of plastic. So that's exactly the same situation today, right? A shareholder today holds textile as well as plastics. So once this gets demerged, a shareholder would own one textile and one plastics when we allocate the share. So this is very logical and which is very obvious also.
Yeah, right.
So it has nothing to do with, sorry, just to finish my point, it has nothing to do with the revenue breakup and stuff like those.
So in terms of the valuation of the two companies, have they been worked out yet?
Valuation would be worked out as we go forward. You know, there is a process involved in this. We need certain approvals from SEBI, from stock exchanges, from our lenders, our shareholders, and of course finally from the High Court. So during this process, the balance sheets would be split up, and so eventually the valuation would come up. But that's going to be the process for next 6 to 8 months that we would follow.
You know, if some people would want to buy a Sintex Industries, because if the textile business is doing badly, they are kind of the plastics business kind of takes care of it. There's a bit of cross subsidies, I would imagine, in terms of debt coming from one end to the other, revenues being transferred. But now when you demerge, how would you break up the debt portfolio itself?
So let me just clarify here. There was no cross subsidizing of debt. The reason is when a lender lends us money, it is for a very clear purpose. So, for example, very recently lenders lent money for our spinning project. It was very clearly specified for spinning project. So this is a debt very clearly earmarked for the textile business, and it cannot be used for the plastic purposes. And similarly, when we have been investing in plastics, it was for that purpose. So debt is
I
not.
would assume that the cash that you're generating from one business, you could have used into the other business, right? It was your company; you had the rights to do that.
Yes, yes. So okay, so that's what I was coming to. So debt is not cross subsidized. Probably what would cross subsidize is the investment that we do, the equity portion that the company brings in against before the debt. But yes, I mean there is a valuation advisor that we had hired, BSR, which is advising us to do this. So there would be a fair valuation on both the sides. Okay. Again, I want to reiterate from shareholder point of view, since each of the shareholder gets one of each. Right now, there should not be any concern on the valuation side. Right. But yes, to get a fair valuation, which is part of the process also, and we have to go through that process, we have appointed a valuer who is going to fairly value the trifurcation of the assets.
trifurcation of the asset. So 2 more listed companies.
Yeah, because under Sintex Plastic Technology, under Sintex Plastics Technology Limited, there are 2 companies, Custom Moulding and Prefab. Custom Moulding is called Sintex BAPL Limited, and the Prefab is called Sintex Infra Projects Limited.
But,
so while there will be 2 entities which would be listed, there would be 3.
So there are going to be
3
2
legal
more
entities. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Just tell us that eventually both custom moldings and prefabs are going to be listed separately, or will the plastics division be a single company with 2 parts?
Yes. So the listed entity would be Sintex Plastic Technology Limited. It would have 2 subsidiaries. One Sintex BAPL Limited, which would be focused on custom molding business, and other would be Sintex Infra Projects Limited, which would be focused on prefab and infra business that we have. These 2 subsidiaries will not be listed. The listed would be the Sintex Plastic Technology. So eventually there will be 2 companies which would be listed. Sintex Industries is already listed, and Sintex Plastic Technology would get listed.
It'll be a clean break? There'll be no cross holdings?
Yeah, it would be a clean break, yeah.
Clean break. Sir, what is the update? I understand that more than 40% of the promoter holding is pledged at the moment. Is there any update on that?
No, for this transaction, there is no change in the promoter pledging of shares.
What is the update? Anything has changed there at all? Overall, not specific to this transaction?
No, it has been the same. It has been the same.
All right. Thank you so much, Joshipura, for taking out time for us. Pleasure talking to you. Thanks for explaining the details. All right. That was Sameer Joshipura, Group CEO of Sintex Industries. That stock has given almost 10% in the last 2 days. All right. We're going to take a short break. After that,